Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue, to include, of course, shorts and community posts here on YouTube. But of course, across new tech, things are going just as well there. So I do appreciate all the support you guys give. And of course, below the video, be sure to take advantage of all the particular social media links that I belong to.
We start things off from the New Hampshire Union Leader. Supreme Court dismisses Republican suit claiming Biden officials censored social media. Now, if you've been a member here on the BuzWeaver channel for any length of time, even a year or maybe even less, you know that we have a very common theme here, and that is about censorship and how long it's been going on for quite some time. Even this is why we discuss hate speech, right? We hear people talk about hate speech. The problem with hate speech, the cleverness behind censorship in these is all in the language and in the framing of it. Because when it comes to hate speech, it essentially comes down to which political party, which political unit, which political group, which political activists currently have a position of power to then say that anyone who opposes what they say is hate speech or considered hate speech. But what we're seeing here is a very clever usage of language, semantics, and, of course, deniable plausibility. Washington. The Supreme Court on Wednesday cast aside claims that the Biden administration has been censoring conservatives by pressing social media sites to take down dangerous misinformation. We have been covering this for a while. We're going to get into that in just a second. In a 6-3 decision, the justices threw out a lawsuit from state attorneys in Louisiana and Missouri and said they had no standing to bring such claims. Now, no standing means that they're not even going to listen to what these individuals have to say because they believe that other court rulings and other information is not substantial enough. It's the same thing that happened during the during the 2020 election when Donald Trump was trying to challenge some of the states and, of course, universal mail-in ballots and ballot harvesting, because we know that they even violated the Pennsylvania Constitution to be able to engage in the type of mail-in ballot distribution and so forth that they were all engaged in. But this is not a new topic for us here on the BuzWeaver channel. The social media sites that were said to be targets of the federal pressure campaign did not sue or say their rights were violated. Right, because they cooperated. They cooperated with the government. They cooperated with government. That's the thing. If you're on the same team as the establishment, why would you complain about them? If you're on the same team as the establishment uniparty, then you are protected. We see this right now with Judge Engoron, with Judge Merchan, with Letitia James, with Fani Willis. All of these individuals have gone outside of the realm of what would be considered our justice system. They have gone outside of that because the establishment uniparty wanted them to arrive at a particular conclusion. It's not about the rule of law and it's not about justice. It's about painting certain things in a particular light. And it's absolutely extraordinary because we have covered it here. Remember, The Intercept, the Truth Cops, leaked documents online, Department of Homeland Security plans to police disinformation. Now, see, here's the clever language. They call it disinformation and misinformation, right? But in reality, it's just censorship because, as I said, it all depends on who is in control. Currently, our culture and our institutions are currently hijacked by the establishment uniparty, the left, and the progressives. We're seeing this every single day. Right here, here's an example. FBI officials told agents not to investigate Hunter Biden laptop ahead of 2020 election. Whistleblower says. This is not unusual, but again, the clever language and the semantics provides the establishment, provides the current administration with deniable plausibility, with areas of denial. Because remember, they're pursuing Donald Trump. Lawfare. This isn't a mystery, but they did say they went after Hunter Biden because, of course, they want to look impartial. But we all know exactly what's being played out here. And then, of course, again, very clever and crafty language. More Americans now say government should take steps to restrict false information online. See, it goes from disinformation to right to misleading information, to misinformation, and now to restrict false information. So it's all this, guys. It's all the semantic language that's going on. Reclaim the Net. You may remember back in during COVID, right? Proposed California bill threatens to revoke doctors' licenses for contradicting state messages. So no matter what you did, no matter what you said, even here on YouTube, we couldn't even talk about COVID. We couldn't even say COVID. We couldn't say COVID-19. There's many things that we could not say. Why? Because the establishment was trying to position themselves so that they could maintain control, so they could maintain control of language, maintain control of flow of information. And here we have, remember this, you guys may recall this, meet the head of Biden's new Disinformation Governance Board. It wasn't a lack of effort on the part of the Biden administration to try to censor. It wasn't a lack of effort by the Biden administration and the establishment to try to get a foothold in it, because technically they don't need one. They're in control. They control the institutions right now. Why would they need any official outlet? Why would they need any official institution? Why would they need any official agency whatsoever when they can just go about doing it anyway? Because for the establishment uniparty, it is deniable plausibility. It allows them to get away with it, right? Orwell's prediction in his book 1984 are coming to life. The Biden administration has created the Disinformation Governance Board, whose main objective is to combat disinformation, which really means they want to be the deciphers of truth. Exactly. It's all about control right now. It's not about the rule of law. It is not about justice. When it comes to Donald Trump or most things that conservatives or Republicans are doing, I don't know what Michael Johnson is doing as the there with the head of the GOP and Speaker of the House. I have no idea what he's doing, because it most certainly falls perfectly in line with what the establishment is trying to do. So you guys may remember Nina Jankowicz back in the day. This never came through because it was becoming apparent what was happening. So again, like I said, for deniable plausibility, Biden would not be able to open up this agency or this ministry of truth, because then everyone could say, going back to the Supreme Court here, that they would have standing because they could demonstrate it. And we've seen it. Going all the way back to 2016, former Facebook workers, we routinely suppress conservative news. Not a mystery. Facebook workers routinely suppress news stories and interests to conservative readers from the social network's influential trending news section, according to a former journalist who worked on the project. These individuals say that workers prevented stories about the right-wing CPAC gathering Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, who are establishment assets anyway. And we come to learn that they were establishment assets, and even not Rand Paul, but Mitt Romney, of course, is an establishment asset. I was thinking of Paul Ryan, not Rand Paul, so I was getting a little ahead of myself there. But you see the point. You guys know the point because we have talked about it here for some time. Even here, when Vijaya Gadde, who's head of security and legal there at Twitter, said, thanks, the biggest question is whether a tweet like the one this morning from Trump, which isn't a rule violation on its face, is being used as coded used as a coded incitement to further violence. I can barely read that. So she's trying to suggest that Trump, just by being Trump, was inciting the violence and therefore was rule breaking on Twitter for inciting violence. It's absolutely extraordinary. And I want to take some time to listen to this. Unfortunately, I won't be able to post this on TikTok or Instagram because this is so vital and important that everyone listen to. We're going to run out of time, but I'm going to go ahead and play it now.
Defending free expression and maintaining the health of the platform required difficult judgment calls. Most applications of Twitter's rules were fact-intensive, subject to internal debate, and needed to be made very quickly. We recognized that after applying our rules, we might learn that some of them did not work as we imagined and that we would need to update them. We always remained open to new information from our customers and critics regarding our policies and enforcement. At times, we also reversed course. For example, on October 14, 2020, the New York Post tweeted articles about Hunter Biden's laptop with embedded images that looked like they may have been obtained through hacking. In 2018, we had developed a policy intended to prevent Twitter from becoming a dumping ground for hacked materials. We applied this policy to the New York Post tweets and blocked links to the articles embedding those source materials. At no point did Twitter otherwise prevent tweeting, reporting, discussing, or describing the contents of Mr. Biden's laptop. People could and did talk about the contents of the laptop on Twitter or anywhere else, including other much larger platforms, but they were prevented from sharing the primary documents on Twitter. Still, over the course of that day, it became clear that Twitter had not fully appreciated the impact of that policy on free press and others. As Mr. Dorsey testified before Congress on multiple occasions, Twitter changed its policy within 24 hours and admitted its initial action was wrong. This policy revision immediately allowed people...
I'm sorry for cutting that off, but it's absolutely extraordinary, is it not? Twitter intentionally and willfully blocked the New York Post reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop because the establishment said it was disinformation, misinformation, or more specifically, Russian disinformation and Russian misinformation. And so Twitter obliged gladly, gleefully, 𝐢𝐧𝐟𝐥𝐤𝐬 gladly took it down and complied with the Department of Homeland Security, complied with the Biden administration. I wonder if she has enough gels there. What do you think? It's absolutely extraordinary. And yet they want to try to say that there's no standing for such claims. So in other words, after all of what I've just showed you, it could be much, much more, much, much more. So the Supreme Court at this time says there's no standing because, again, they have the establishment uniparty has embedded itself in our institutions, in our legal system. They are ensconced so strongly in all of these areas that you cannot say a single thing without them trying to shut you down. They will shut down, as we heard here, they will shut down the media. The New York Post is who she's talking about here because that's who first broke the laptop story. And that's when they immediately scrambled. That's when the establishment had to scramble and come up with this Russian disinformation, misinformation. So we found out that was a lie. And of course, the biggest lie was the Russian collusion. We found out that Paul Ryan, speaking of Paul Ryan earlier, was the one that was sitting on that the whole time, deciding on when it was going to be released, deciding on how it was going to be released and the way it was going to be released, because they were trying to figure out how they were going to get this story out there to use it against Donald Trump. It's absolutely extraordinary that we're living in a time now where our institutions are hijacked, where Judge Merchan, as I said, was only going to accept a guilty verdict. He was going to allow individual verdicts from the jurors. This is where we are. So as of this recording, it is Thursday, and this evening, June 27th, will be the debate. This will be an historic event, absolutely, without a doubt. And that's what I have for you guys this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. All that helps the channel. And as I've mentioned below the video, we have various social media links that I belong to, as well as a VPN, Trust Zone. And if you're an Amazon Prime user or order frequently from Amazon, those links down below do help out the channel if you guys decide to participate. And I want to thank all of you guys across New Tech and always here on YouTube for your guys' continued support, because it is greatly appreciated as things continue to expand here in 2024, as we draw even closer to the election and, of course, the debate that took place. Of course, this is being recorded on Wednesday, but we'll see how the debate turns out. It should be very interesting. But nonetheless, guys, I want to thank all of you here on YouTube. That'll be the channel icon appearing right there on the screen. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys behind the Galaxy phone camera next week.